It's fall 2009, and political creatures emerge once more to stir up the waters in Humboldt Bay. Incumbent Dennis Hunter decided not to seek re-election after serving 16 years on the Harbor Commission. 3 Eureka residents think they can take his place. The contenders are Susan Penn, union organizer Richard Marks, and architect John Ash.
I assume you want me to focus mostly on why I'm running for the Harbor District.
Well, we'd appreciate just any background information, how long you've been in Humboldt County, and so on and so forth.
Living in Humboldt County since '83. Started out in McKinleyville and been migrating south, but I don't plan to go any further south than Eureka in Humboldt County. I have been living in Eureka proper since I think it's 1995, and have been living on a boat for most of that time.
Totally.
And as far as why I'm running for office,
That's true.
because I think that
I also had a chance
we need the harbor to be productive, to be successful,
with my brother.
and and we really need to be kind of moving to the 21st century.
Well, I didn't do
and
that, though.
I don't have any magic plans for it, but I think we need to be looking at what's happening here now, how we can help the businesses and the recreational users who are here now, and make it a better place for all of us.
What are those?
So the Harbor District, of course, has had its had its share of financial difficulties as of late. It's been running a budget deficit for several years now. How do you think you can help turn that around and get the Harbor District's budget back in the black?
All by myself, I'm not going to. It's going to be a huge challenge because it's not just the Harbor District. It's the Harbor, Recreation, and Conservation District. And the Conservation District has actually been running in the black. The Recreation District is running in the red. That is basically the Marina. And the biggest expense that the Marina faces isn't the day-to-day stuff. It's the dredging that has to occur roughly every 7 years or so. And I think working on keeping it filled and upgrading the facilities so that more people want to have their boats there. It used to bring in more money than it's bringing in now, and I think that's something, the deficit that's occurring there.
I understand from some of the maritime folks down there that there are certain slips that there are years-long waiting lists for. Do you think there's a undercapacity problem at the Marina? Do you think it could do with some expansion?
It could definitely. There is a waiting list. Problem, there's not a great deal of room on Woodley, to expand. One of the permitted uses over the Redwood Marine Terminal is docks, but it's kind of it's a rough area for docks. There's a lot of wind over there. I think it would be worth exploring it as an option. I'm not willing at this point to say, let's build new slips there for smaller boats. They're looking at building a great big one for great big ships. But, that's a different type of slip that you're talking about.
Sure.
Plus there are no facilities over there at this point anyway for smaller boats. So, but I think it's something we should look at because yes, we need more slips for smaller boats, meaning anything, say less than 100 feet, because there's a waiting list at Woodley and City Marina's full.
What is your stance on the Redwood Marine Terminal? Obviously, there was that study that was done last year. Some folks think it's too big of a risk to take, and others think it's a risk the district does need to take to try to facilitate economic development.
I think it's too big of a risk. Nothing that I saw in the plan convinced me that it was a wise economical move. And the trans system folks plotted out, 10 years from now you're going to have this much ship traffic, you're going to have this many cruise ships. We've had 2 cruise ships in 20 years. and I'm not saying that these things can't be built up, but we've also had a marketing director for some period of time, and I have not seen an expansion of either cruise ships or freight ships. Part of it is, what do we have here to ship out? What do we need in huge quantity coming in? And the Redwood Terminal study also based everything on the back of an operating railroad, which at this point we don't have, haven't had for a good number of years, 10 plus, I'm not sure exactly how many. And I haven't heard anything at all from the railroad implying that that was going to be up and running again in the near future. Mm-hmm. I'm not saying it couldn't, but I haven't heard anything saying that they're looking at that, at this end of it.
Right.
They're focusing a lot of attention on the southern end, where the population is. So if I saw any of those looking like they were bound to happen, I'd say, yeah, let's go for it, but I don't see that.
What would you say your vision is generally for economic development on the bay? Can jobs still be created here that are well-paying, and if so, in what sort of areas?
Well, I guess you first of all have to define what well-paying is.
More than minimum wage, perhaps. More than just serving tourist coffee.
Yeah. Yes, I think we could do more than minimum wage. And the thing is, the Harbor District does not have control over anything on the Eureka side. People sometimes think that we meaning the Harbor District, has more of an influence on things. We also do not control the railroad. So, those City of Eureka property and the railroad are basically out of our control. What we do have control over are the industrial lands over on the Samoa Spit and also down in South Bay. At this point, they're all, basically zoned marine-dependent industrial. And I'm not sure how much of that we're going to be able to create. There used to be, logging was huge. That took up most of it because they needed to be close to water to load the ships. So what are we creating now, or what could we be creating that's marine dependent? I don't have an easy answer for that. Maybe we need, if we want those lands to be financially productive, maybe we need to look at changing the zoning on them. People have suggested shipbuilding, but we don't really have the trained workforce here. I mean, that might be something we could work towards. I mean, CR definitely trains people very well. They might be able to add into that. We might be able to bring in people who would train, but I don't see that being a short-term solution. Mm-hmm. Boat building is a big industry, and despite the recession, there are people spending lots of money on boats. So if that could be developed, it would be a long-term project. Mm-hmm. And I think as a long-term project, it would be worth looking at. It's not going to be our quick and dirty solution.
Sure.
I think we need to be looking at a diversity of products, types of work, and perhaps revisiting, just what our vision is.